You're listening to Montreal Now with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall on CJAD 800.
That is Jim Mennie back in the saddle today. Jim, everything okay? You feeling all right?
Everything
Good.
is absolutely tickety-boo, and I got your very kindly sent message yesterday. I want to convey my thanks to Val for her get well quick recipe, which involved baking soda and water. I have to tell you, however, I found the recipe to be a bit simple, so I added flour, eggs, and sugar, and I baked the cake.
Well done, Jim. Well done. Hope you didn't use too much sugar. You'll get in trouble for that, too. Let me start with the breaking news story. Not a giant surprise, but then again, I don't know, it kind of meaningless, right? So all the opposition parties get together and they decide they don't want to have David Johnston go on as the special rapporteur for the next session of whatever ends up happening. What's it mean in the end?
Well, what it means in the end, it's very simple, though, guys, is that the majority of the House of Commons would like very much for Mr. Johnston. They are asking him to leave. And it's going to be very difficult for Justin Trudeau to saddle up even his most highly decorated unicorn and ride his way out of this one. I mean, it's a terrible situation. In the space of what, maybe 2 weeks, David Johnston has seen his reputation shot to pieces simply because of his association with Justin Trudeau. And the right or the wrong of it at this point doesn't even matter. What matters is that the utterly politicized version of this situation is now taking control. We're no longer talking about an attempt by the Chinese government to influence elections in this country. We're talking about whether or not the government of the day, the minority government of the day, is going to listen to the House of Commons, whether they are going to take a huge step back and call a public inquiry, even though I see no reason why any other rapporteur or specially designated person is going to come away with a conclusion different from that of David Johnston, which is much of this information is classified. It cannot be discussed publicly. So it seems that the Bloc Québécois and the NDP and the Conservatives had said, in the long run, we'll go for the short-term clicks and political points, and then we'll just see how this lies. Once again, I don't think you're going to see a game of political chicken and this turns into a general election. I really don't, because, as I say, Justin Trudeau and Justin Trudeau alone has made it almost inevitable that any election at this point will result in a minority government for Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives, simply because he's so damned annoying. But all that to one side, as you say, Aaron, this was utterly predictable. Trudeau's reaction, perhaps in the short term, will be predictable. He'll double down. His reputation is doubling down. But now the optics have changed. This is not an inside baseball story anymore. Yeah. This is the majority of voices in the House of Commons saying that someone should be removed from a job, and whether or not the person who hired him is going to listen to those voices or just plow on ahead. And I think if he does option B, it's going to be even more disastrous for the Liberals than it is right now.
I do agree. I personally would like a vote to be held on never, ever again using the term special rapporteur. I'd like to never hear that.
You want to hear the word rapporteur never again. Okay.
The term, where did this come from? It feels so...
The United Nations.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
Thank you.
Okay.
So you're saying I don't get to vote it out? Is that what you're saying, Jim? I'm stuck.
And I'm still medicated. No.
Yeah, that's right. He's not the right guy to ask right now. So, at the end of the day,
when they send somebody out, it's supposed to be a neutral person. They go and they look at the situation and they report back to the United
rapporteur.
Nations.
Yeah, the question though is, neutrality. That seems to be the big issue here, right? So
there's got to be a better frame.
But now I know the Prime Minister was asked about this, by the way, earlier today. I think before the vote actually happened. You're kind of making the case, Jim. I think that he has no choice but to back down. Am I right?
Well, if we still live in a democracy and he still likes to abide by the rules of democracy, yes. Because, yes, he has a minority government, and I guess he wants to turn around. Maybe he wants to turn around and turn it into a vote of confidence. Maybe he's at that point in terms of his ego, but I don't see that happening, or perhaps I see saner heads prevailing. But honestly, this situation has gotten completely out of hand. We have lost sight of the initial issue. Now it's a matter of who got named, whether they ski together. These are a bunch of liberal cronies. And in the end, we are not one molecule further in our knowledge of what foreign interference is going on
right.
in our process of governance. And believe me, it's not just the Chinese government that's trying to pull stuff. But all that said, this has been turned into a clickbait-friendly headline day after day. Johnston relationship, conflict of interest. Great, congratulations. You guys have pulled it off. But ask yourself this question as well: how does it help Canada in general to have this conversation, to have this inane controversy prolonged for days and weeks and perhaps even months, this distraction, especially when there are a few other things going on in this country right now which require far more immediate attention, but somehow they're not getting the exposure that they usually get.
Excellent point. I want to move on to this one. You mentioned that you're still medicated. I wonder if you're medicated enough that you would don traditional Austrian costumes to go pheasant shooting. Jim, is that something that you've been contemplating?
I'm lucid enough to tell you that this is one of the best stories I've seen come down the pike. And if you want a reminder that you're in the 21st century, Pierre Fitzgibbon, who I used to call Mad Dog Fitzgibbon, who I now call Sparky Fitzgibbon, and I will now call Teflon Fitzgibbon, after his sixth investigation by the National Assembly Ethics Commissioner, has been exonerated after he decided to attend a pheasant hunt on a private island owned by a bunch of millionaires whose businesses happen to benefit from grants from his very ministry. And this pheasant hunt, apparently, it's a much sought-after invitation. You have to dress up, apparently, in traditional Austrian garb. And I know what you're thinking, guys, at this point. The news leaks out that you're getting dressed up like Captain Von Trapp from The Sound of Music to go blow the heads off of birds. That would be punishment enough. But no, the Liberals said this could be a very bad conflict of interest. So, long story short, the Commissioner of Ethics, I guess, how can I put it, the overworked Ariane Mignolet, completed her sixth investigation into Mr. Fitzgibbon. And it was interesting because if you read the text, it's essentially, no, you didn't do anything wrong. It didn't interfere. You were there as a private person. It was a private invitation. However, the warning at the bottom is lengthier than the findings of the report itself. And the warning is this, and it's very, very important. She's pointing out that even the appearance of a conflict of interest is as serious and as harmful to the public's trust as an actual case of conflict of interest. And my own take on this is she's run up the white flag now, because every MNA who's going to see this is going to say, well, I mean, if Fitzgibbon can do it, I mean, why can't I? If I just go to this and go to that. And it's amazing because not only did Fitzgibbon, he beat the rap on the pheasant shoot when he was asked. First of all, he says, I'm going to go again this fall. And secondly, when he was asked, would you do anything different? He said, absolutely not.
Of course.
So essentially, the message is clear, okay? Looking at what we might call the Fitzgibbon precedent, you can probably dance on that tightrope between public life and private life. Honestly, I think the CAC is still going to pay for this. I think Mr. Fitzgibbon down the road is going to pay for this in terms of the public's perception of him as a cabinet minister. But today, everybody walks. Nothing bad happened, unless, of course, you were a pheasant.
Are there any pictures, Jim, of him dressed in his Austrian garb? Have those surfaced?
Oh, I hope not, because my imagination has been running rampant for a year. And right. I wouldn't want to spoil that with actual photos.
Fair enough. James Mennie, feeling considerably better today. Thank you, Jim.
Demand.